Hey everybody, it's Albertine again, and I'm just doing this video to share with you uh, part of a series of videos that I will call Stuff God Said to Me. There were many times in my life that at crucial times when I needed to hear from Him really bad, He spoke certain things to me that were life-changing, that in that moment He spoke something to me that helped me and changed the way I was thinking, or changed the path that I was on, or some kind of way, just changed my mindset, basically. So there are several times that the Lord has spoken and said things to me, and I want to share each one of those with you over time. And today I want to share with you a time that God spoke something to me specifically. It was 2010, Friday, May 13th. My job that I had been on for over 15 years had closed. It was a government job, and it was the beginning. We didn't know or realize that it was that at that time it was the beginning of a lot of changes that were going to be made in the federal government, and how a lot of agencies do their hiring and do everything. Well, I had been there, 13 and 15 years. So everything really was changing around me. Even though I was a part of the government, everything was changing around me without me really knowing it and not realizing what was happening. So when my job closed in 2008, um, we got a full severance package, which meant that we received our full pay every 2 weeks, and mine lasted for 10 months. And during that time, I also was able to collect unemployment, and I was receiving child support. So I had more money than I had more than enough money to carry me, actually more than those 10 months had I used some wisdom. And also looking back, when I look at what I eventually went through after that shutdown, I still would have run out of money, and I still would have, gone through a lot of what I went through. It may not have been as severe had I used more wisdom with the money, that I had coming in. But that's another video for another day, because I was dealing with a lot of emotional and, having gone through divorce and things like that. So sometimes money has a way of just getting out of your hands if you're dealing with a lot of emotional issues. Um, but anyway, my job had closed in 2008. August 31st was our official last day. Um, and so that was the 28th. On that Friday was our last day. And so for that following year to year and a half, I, you know, the first 10 months, of course, I was just resting. I said, I need a rest. I'm tired. I'll take a break, and I'll just collect my unemployment and my severance pay. And then after that, before it starts running out, I'll just start applying for jobs, just knowing that, you know, everything was going to be what I assumed it would be, but it was nothing like I thought it would be. While I was uh, employed without any layoffs or any issues like that for over 13 years, everything around me and in the government was changing without me knowing. So I had a harsh reality when I started applying for jobs, and I went through some mess with that. But for over a year, I was applying for jobs. Most of the time, I wasn't even getting interviewed. When I got interviewed, I didn't get called back, um, even though I had the experience. I had the specialized experience for the jobs I was applying for. Several jobs I had applied for, the woman in HR put my name on the wrong list, and that's why I never got interviewed or selected. She did that with like 4 jobs. So I still remember her name. And yeah, but anyway, so after a year or more, heading into the 2-year mark, I got hired as a with a government contractor. So that put me back into the government, but as a contractor. And it paid me pretty good money, a little bit less than what I was making, but good money. And I got that job. It was only supposed to be like a 2-month assignment. And at the time I got the job, I had a choice to choose between the 2-month assignment and a 4-month assignment. And for some reason, I chose the 2-month assignment. I just felt more peace about it. And when I got in there, they fell in love with me. Turns out that another woman that had already been working there My assignment was a 2-month assignment because somebody was on maternity leave, so they expected her back, in 2 months, and so I was just supposed to be there for 2 months to cover for her. But for some reason I still chose that over the longer assignment. And when I got there, it turns out there was another lady who was already working there who had kind of gotten a bad taste in everybody's mouth, so they were kind of looking for a reason to get rid of her anyway. And when I got there, they liked me so much, they, after about 2 weeks, got rid of her, and then I was able to stay on. And they found money. Well, they were trying to figure out a way to keep me, and then they came in and said they found money so that they could pay me. But what happened? They fired her. So anyway, that was the money they found. So I was able to stay there, and I'll put a little insert right here because I'm going to do another video to talk about this piece right here. There was a point, and while I was working there, that a friend of mine had let me know. And when I say I was a government contractor, that's basically like I was working for a temp agency that worked for the government. So like if you worked for Account Temps or Deco or somebody like that, and so it was like that, but it was just a government contractor, so it was not a permanent position. And but it would have been for the 5-year, this particular contract was a 5-year contract. I came in there in the 5th year. And so my friend wrote me one day, and she said, hey, this agency is hiring, they're gonna be hiring so many hundreds of people, you need to go ahead and get your application in now. And I didn't do it. I'll just leave that there, and then I'll keep moving. And we'll talk about that another time, because I don't want this to be way long video. And that's a whole nother, little by itself. So I didn't do it, and I stayed there. And after a couple of months, we came around to the time for the contract to be renewed. It got renewed. The company that had the contract lost the contract. Another company came in, which meant another boss. And from the time I met that new boss, I knew I started to get this sinking feeling. And I had already let the opportunities for that other agency that I should have applied for, I had already let that pass. And so I was just kind of like on pins and needles. And that Friday, that feeling lasted several months, because the contract renewed like the end of, it's like the fiscal year in the federal government. So the contract ended like September, and I was still there until the following May, that May 13th, 2010. I was supposed to get off work at 3:15, 3:10 or something like that. And the lady came in. It was odd because everybody disappeared out of the office. Everybody disappeared out of the office. And then the manager, who was like the boss on site for that contracting company that had hired me, she came in. And I didn't even realize, it was eerie, but I didn't even realize for real what had happened. I'm just sitting there working. And she came in and she told me, I've been asked to terminate you. And the thing about working for a contractor and a lot of these companies, they can let you go for no reason. They can give you a reason if they want, and they don't have to give you a reason. They can have a reason, and they can have no reason. They can just decide, we're gonna let you go today. And man, I was in my apartment, finally had some good employment, good pay. I had already had a repo. I had already had a second foreclosure. And the second foreclosure that I had was my mom's house. I had bought my mother's house after she passed. And that's another story. But I had lost her house. I had lost that house to foreclosure and had moved into a townhome. And with the job situation, I was not a townhome, a nice apartment, and then got the job there, and then lost the job. I had a foreclosure and I had a repo, and I had just gotten another car, from one of those last chance, second chance, 10th chance places. Wow. And I remember that day trying to get the woman to tell me, what did I do? Did they say why? Did they, you know, what did they do? And she just, well, and it was just like, oh my God. And I remember her walking me out. And I remember the closer I got to the exit of the building, the closer I got to hyperventilating. Just like I could feel myself and I'm thinking to myself, I'm 49 years old and I just got fired. I'm 49 years old. What am I going to do? I just got fired. And then you thinking about the foreclosure, and there had been a foreclosure before that, and then this most recent foreclosure where I lost my mother's house, my house that I had bought, that was my mother's house. And then finding a nice apartment. Well, yeah, it was a townhome because I moved into a townhome, but I had went to IRS for a season, but those seasons were really short. And while I was living there, that car got repoed. So I had already lost my Ford Escape when the house that got foreclosed on. I had my Ford Escape got repoed. Then I moved into the townhome, and I fell behind on that rent. And I had a little PT Cruiser. And one morning I thought that the garbage was picking up the trash, and I didn't realize they were pulling my car away. So my car got repoed at that townhome. And then getting laid off from IRS, it cut my income off again. And then I got behind several months in the rent, and they were about to evict me from there. But thank God I had favor with the woman in the office, because I had, did the best I could for as long as I could. So she wrote me a letter of recommendation to hurry up and find another apartment. So I moved to Missouri, to the Missouri side, and had gotten another car. And then I got that job with the contractor. So I was kind of bouncing back. But then she comes in on a Friday afternoon, like 20 minutes before I'm supposed to clock out, and she fired me. And I'm 49 years old, and I have repos, and I have a foreclosure, and cannot hardly breathe. And I wept. I was so scared. I got two daughters in middle school, high school, either both in middle school, or one was in middle school and one was in high school. What am I going to do? Who's going to hire me at 49? It's like I've only had a few jobs, and they've been with the government. And like, what am I going to do? And I was just devastated. Man. And I remember going home, and I just got in my bed. And that was a season where, it was a long season where I spent a lot of time in the bed. But this particular part of that season, I went home. It was that Friday afternoon. And I just went to bed, and I cried as long as I could, as much as I could. And then the next morning, I don't know, I know somebody else knows how I feel. Like, before you wake up, you can feel the pain waiting for you to wake up so it can just sit on you. You can feel depression or whatever, the fear. You can feel it. It's like it's sitting on the side of the bed waiting for you to wake up so that it can just crush you. And before my eyes even opened, I felt the heaviness. I felt such a strong sense of depression and sadness that was scary before my eyes even opened. And as my eyes opened, the Lord did not wait. I think he knew my life needed him to not wait. He knew I needed to hear from him immediately. And my eyes opened, and the Lord spoke to me. And it's like I felt it just sitting on me. He said, do not lay here and die. Don't lay here and die. He said, get up, put your clothes on. He said, and I want you to go to that park. I want you to go walking, because I love going to this particular park. It's my favorite place to walk. He said, I want you to get up, put your clothes on, and go walking. He said, I want you to get up and go walking every day like you're getting up going to work. Do not sit here and die. And I immediately got up, put my clothes on, shoes, and there was a slight thought in my mind, okay, you ain't got no job, so how are you sure you're gonna have gas to get up and go to the park every day to walk? And I thought, my answer to that was, God said go get up and go walking every day like I'm getting up going to work, so that means he's gonna supply the gas I need. And that was the end of that conversation. I got up, y'all. I went to that park. It was a Saturday morning, was the first day. I just gotten fired the day before. I went to that park and I started walking every day. And during that time, I mean, I love that park because of the trees, the grass. It's just, the area is beautiful. You got people out there with their dogs, and it's just to me, it's just my favorite place to go walking. There may be nicer places, but I haven't found them. I don't go looking for them. That's it for me. And just getting out, going walking. I had my music on most of the time in my ears, listening to worship music. And that was the best thing that I could have done during that time. Getting up, going walking every day like I was getting up, going to work. I went walking either early before church on Sunday or after church on Sunday afternoon, but I didn't take Sunday off. God said every day. It was my job to get up and go walking. And out there, I was able to talk to the Lord. I'd be listening to worship music, and it would just, inspire something in me, talk to the Lord about things. I went out there, I cried, I poured my heart out to the Lord. And just being out there in nature, even being in the sunlight is good for your skin because of the vitamin D. Walking is good for your blood sugar. It's good for your blood pressure. I walked off 28 pounds between May and August. But what it helped me to do was it helped me to not die. So when God said to me, don't die, don't you lay here and die, get up and go walking, he used walking to basically kind of to save my life and to save my mind, to keep me from losing it. Because the older you get, you just don't necessarily feel like you have the options like you did. And I had already experienced in that year or so prior to that, I had already experienced age discrimination, like right in my face. The woman was, I think she didn't realize that what she was describing to me was flat out age discrimination. So I had that working on me too. So the Lord had to speak to me directly to me right in the midst of that. And I just want to share with you, I was inspired to, because I shared this in writing, like on one of my Facebook posts. But then when I saw Monique's video, then that inspired me to tell my story too. Of course, her video was on like 3 minutes, and here I am almost 20, but I'm a talker. So I just want to encourage you, get up and get moving. That saved me. That saved my life. That saved my sanity. It pulled me out of depression. It kept me from losing. It gave me something to look forward to in the mornings. And it just pointed me toward Jesus. It pointed me toward my relationship with him and talking with him and being able to pour out to him and just let him just kind of start washing things out of me. And so that's what I just wanted to share with you today. That we are in an interesting time right now. I don't know when, you will see this video. It may be a few years from today where the coronavirus has come and gone, but that's what we're dealing with right now. And people are scared, and they're buying up tissue, and they're buying up, every crazy kind of stuff. I can understand the hand sanitizer and the disinfectant wipes, but it's a little weird about the tissue. I think it has to do with people thinking that since we might be locked up in the house for 2 weeks to 2 months, we want to make sure we don't run out of tissue, which I understand. But there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of panic in the air. And this can be very stressful. And I can tell you that if you want to get out and walk, if you don't do anything but walk to the corner and back, walk back and forth in your house, if you got a big enough room where you can just do some floor exercises, do something, get up and get moving, get the blood flowing, and spend that time talking to the Lord and getting to know yourself. Because I was, God is so amazing that you can go to him crying about one thing, but he can deal with you about something that seems like it doesn't have anything to do with what you went to him for, but it fixes you. He's just about fixing you, and he knows more about you than you know about yourself. So if he's speaking to you and he's saying get up and go for a walk, then that means you're gonna be protected. If during this time he says in the morning get up and go for a quick walk, that means you don't have to be scared of breathing nothing in that's going to make you sick or kill you. If the Lord said get up and go walk, I'm asking you to obey him and get your butt up and go walk. If he tells you to do sit-ups, if he tells you go in the kitchen and get some green beans and do some arm curls, go in the kitchen, get some green beans and do some arm curls, okay? And just do what he asks you to do, because he's going to use that to help you. He's going to use that to calm you down, along with the word, along with the scriptures. And that's something, because during that time, he didn't say, get up and get in the word. Wouldn't you think? Isn't that what a lot of Christians would say to each other? You need to get in the word. He didn't tell me to get in the word. He said, get up, put your clothes on, and go walking. Don't you lay here and die. I want you to get up and go walking every day like you're getting up going to work. That's what he said. And that's what saved my life. I got plenty of word in me, but what was sitting on my chest when I woke up that morning was going to snuff the life out of me. I had to get up and get out. I had to get up and get moving. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I want to encourage you to be encouraged, to, yes, get in the word, but there are going to be times where the Lord might tell you to do something that ain't got nothing to do with going to church. Look, we can't even go to church right now. What you going to do now? So he may say something to you that you may not think is deep. You may not think is spiritual. You may not think it's anointed, but doing it will save your life. It'll keep you from going nuts. It'll keep you out of depression. It'll keep the spirit of suicide from coming up on you, making you feel so hopeless that you might as well leave here. It'll keep you here, and it'll keep you where God can use you and where he can still get some glory out of your life, okay? So I just wanted to share that with you. I feel like I took the long road, but that's just me. God bless y'all, and I look forward to sharing more with you guys about stuff God said to me. So what did he say to me this time? Stuff God said to me. The title of this video is going to be Stuff God Said to Me, Get Up and Go Walking. So whatever God is speaking to you to do to help you, to keep you out of a rut, to keep you out of depression, whether it's got to do with getting in the word or whether it's got to do with getting up out of the house, do what God is saying to you. God bless y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.